Well, it's definitely been an interesting summer here at AFC Bournemouth. Mike Phelan has been to work, and without really losing any of our senior players, certainly permanently, he has managed to try and bolster the squad. I'm not sure about all of the work, but he has definitely made the squad deeper and stronger. And today we start with a bonus game, the Community Shield final against Liverpool. Can we get another win at Wembley? Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 60 of the head coach with me, Daniel. We're back today with AFC Bournemouth. Not that it always looked that way. We'll talk about that in a moment as we face Liverpool in a Community Shield as they won the Premier League. We're still in 60 million of debt, but with European football to come. And we've got a lot of additions to the squad and not many senior departures. So if you're looking forward to all of that and seeing what Mike Phelan's been up to, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. We're looking forward to a new season in the Premier League, but it was not always meant to be that way, because during the summer, there was one club whose fans were calling for us to get their job. That club was Real Madrid. Their fans were calling for us to be given an interview as the leading candidate, but in the end that didn't happen. We were also rejected for PSG, but if those top jobs come up now, I'm just going to keep applying for them and see what happens. Manchester City, we can't apply for, but it would be fun to manage Haaland and the likes. They're a side I don't think I've ever managed in FM. But for now, we're coming back for the opening day of the season, which is a curtain raiser in a Community Shield. We've had a good pre-season, albeit against fairly weak opposition. And most importantly, the reason I've come to this screen is that we've got a really good start to the season on paper. It's genuinely really friendly. If you look ahead, it's probably 2 games with Liverpool and Newcastle at the end of September. And then you get all the way to November with United and Spurs, and then later the Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Everton period over Christmas. So we have got the chance to start quickly. And that is important in the first sort of month or so. I'm going up to the whole game because obviously after that we're going to be in Europa League action. And at that point, we're going to have to stretch this squad a bit. So I want to have a positive start where possible. For now, though, we're going to have a look at what has been a pretty big summer transfer window at the club, because there have been lots of players in and out. There are a couple more that may well be leaving. George Roland's looking like he's going out on loan to the Netherlands. We have missed out on a couple of key targets. There was a right back the director of football tried to sign. He rejected us to go to a Champions League team. So he's definitely been trying to get to the right areas of the squad. There are a couple of signings I'm not sure on, and there are a few bigger investments that I'm a little surprised by. In fact, the signing that disappoints me most from our list is the biggest one by a long way. So if we look at the transfers out, there's not been a lot happening. There was nothing at the end of last season of note, by the way. If we go through the out screen, there are a couple of youngsters that have gone out for fairly small fees. One of them for 625 grand had a bit of potential, but I can understand why he's been sold. There's also a lot of players that have gone out on loan who would have been probably close to being on the bench for European games and the like. So I'm looking at Lloyd Roberts, who's 2-star, who's gone to Luton. Oscar Nystar, who we looked at briefly last season. Who else is in there? I think Aragon went out as well, didn't he? To Bradford City, who again is a good 2-star player. So there are a few in there that certainly from the youth teams would have featured a little this season. But perhaps the most surprising one, and mainly because of the order of events, was Mark Steele. He's the number 2 goalkeeper who went on loan to Hearts, where, to be fair, a season of football would be great for him playing first choice, but he would have been my Europa League keeper. As it is, we've now got a better one, so I'm not going to complain. The 6 players we've got in to replace Mark Steele and the Lone Boys have definitely strengthened the squad, but are they much better than what we've got, and are they a good use of money? Well, the first one, in my opinion, certainly is, because Wilco van der Lack is from Vitesse for 13.75 million. He is a left winger who can play off the right and up front. He's short, he's not great in the air. He's electric quick. He's basically a pace merchant, isn't he? But he is pretty good in the pass, despite not having the vision. His technique's all right. I mean, he's so FM09 Theo Walcott, isn't he? You've really got that vibe to him. But electric pace down the wing off the bench in Europe and late in league games might not be a bad thing necessarily. We know on the left-hand side, we've got Siganov getting a bit older, Damsgaard getting a bit older. Of course, Veron was sold in March last year. And while we have still got a good first-choice player in Fernandes, it's nice to have options off the bench, particularly as Fernandes is young and inconsistent, though he has signed a new deal, by the way. So this guy for 25 grand a week, a long-term deal. I mean, his wage doesn't even go up that much when he's played the games. So for me, that's a fabulous bit of business by Mike Phelan and a very good start to the summer. The second bit, I'm a little bit more concerned about, with good reason, because it's not that he's not a good player, Jose Manuel Lopez from Marseille, but it's £32 million. He is the oldest signing of the summer, and I just don't really see where he fits in, because we've got good options in those positions unless there's going to be a surprise sale. Because Lopez is a 29-year-old Argentinian centre forward who can play off the right and left, is naturally left-footed. I mean, he's a very decent player. He's very versatile. He adds quality to the squad. Not doubting he's a good player. But to use 30 million and 100 grand a week in a position where we've got Leonardo, we've got Solanke, we've got other options from wide areas too. Is it the best use of money? I don't know. The benefits, he's 6'2", he's great in the air, he's good holding the ball up, and if you look at other clubs, he's scored goals wherever he's been. So my concern is maybe that we're going to see a big departure from the club. Is Solanke going to move on at 32, 33? Is Leonardo going to be sold at last? He does flatter to deceive at times. But I guess he's a good player. For the short term, for me, here in the head coach, not a problem at all. For Bournemouth, maybe not the wisest use of money, but who am I to judge Mike Phelan? We then move on to two more slightly for the future signings. Giuseppe Di Dario was pre-agreed months ago and he's now out with a broken leg. So he's not going to make it anytime soon. He's a decent right back and one that he probably would have made a profit on. But for now, I'm a little bit worried about him because physically he's obviously declining, not got a great personality, and I can't put him in the senior squad to mentor at the minute. So a couple of concerns there. The second one, though, is Alexander Schroeder. And he's got the bases of a pretty good player. Now, he's gone on loan to St Johnstone, which is going to be a test for him this season. But I'm a little bit surprised because he's got a slight lack of physical and technical quality. Mentally, he's very good, which will mean he'll make it as a pro regardless. But whether or not he's going to be at Bournemouth level, I don't know. And whether or not we make a profit on him, we'll wait and see. But we probably won't be here for that stage. We then move on to two goalkeeping additions of very different age profiles. And I think I might have lied about Lopez being the oldest signing actually, but certainly the oldest of the senior ones. Because our new backup goalkeeper is Manuel Barreto, and he is a superb youngster from Argentina. We've talked about Mike Phelan finding a lot of these signings where the club can make a profit, where the club can have gems in the future. And this guy's definitely that. He's not far off Karnazeki already. He doesn't like big matches, so playing in some of those smaller Europa and Carabao Cup games and that is probably great for him. He's definitely better than Mark Steele, as is our third choice keeper in fairness. And he's got a wonderful personality. He's 6'3", and once he's learnt the language, I think he's going to be a bit of a gem. So you could almost see him becoming first choice in the next couple of years. But the third goalkeeper is very much third goalkeeper territory. Ionut Radu is a 33-year-old Romanian international. He's a good goalkeeper in fairness, isn't he? In fact, I think he was here in real life, is he not? Yeah, he is. He's on loan at the club at the moment. I'm pretty sure that's a real transfer. It is. I've just gone and checked it. He is back at the club after many years away. And to be honest, after playing 4 years in a top tier in Spain at 33, he's probably still better than Mark Steele was last year, and he's our third choice keeper. But I guess with Europe and with FM24 goalkeeping injuries, I shouldn't be upset to have 3 good ones. How long's his deal? 2 years. So yeah, he'll do a job in and around the club. He's a professional personality. He's got the lot. So overall, a decent summer. I'm a little bit concerned that we've lost Sturgeon from our defensive realm. We've also lost George Rowlands, who looks like he's going out on loan. And we've not really added anyone back there, but perhaps that's why they got Mendes and Schmidt in January. In the wide areas, he has gone for a right wing back, but not got one. And since then, he's given Ollie Byrne a new deal, so maybe that's a sign of what he's going to do in the future. On the left, I'm a little bit worried because Region is declining quickly at 33. Physically, he's nowhere near. So if we get a big injury out there, is that going to cost us? And again, despite the director of football trying 1 or 2 times, we've not got any real additions in centre midfield. Tyler Adams is still transfer listed by request. We've still got the likes of Brassier and Karnazeki wanted. Leonardo's wanted too. I wonder if that deal is going to happen as part of bringing in Lopez. But I feel like we're improving the depth of the squad. We've got a bit more room for manoeuvre with certain people, so like Damsgaard and Siganov into centre midfield. But we are still in certain areas a little bit light on depth. I'd probably want one more centre half if Roland's went. I wouldn't mind one extra wing back, and I'd certainly like a centre midfielder of quality. Whether we get it, we'll wait and see. But overall, the squad is not in bad shape, and by head coach standards, we've certainly seen worse. So let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the season. We'll start by seeing what the media think of what our squad looks like now. And actually, they've predicted us 12th, which is slightly better than before. And let's be fair, we've been in that region. We've finished back-to-back 9th places, and that group of 4 above we could easily finish with. What we've done though via winning the FA Cup is given ourselves a real opportunity. We're going to have a look at Liverpool today, the third favourites for the title and the current champions. What have they done this summer with Didier Deschamps at the helm? They've brought in one big player, Slanina from Ajax, so again, another good goalkeeper. They've let a couple go, who are experienced wingbacks who's not great. Samuel Ricky at 28 again. They're just slowly evolving their squad by 1 or 2 every year, aren't they? And they seem to be in a really good place at the minute. They've got a lot of originals in there because they are quite a young squad on paper. They've also established a number of superstars into the squad over the years, so the likes of Antonio Silva signed young, Shalabar came into the club. Going further down, they've got a brilliant young player in Callum Joyce, who I think was homegrown at the club, another model citizen. No, he wasn't. He was signed from West Brom. One hell of a player, by the way. They got him for 14 million. That is an absolute steal. Further down, the likes of Sobolay, Nunes, Nicholas Jackson's gone there in this save, but then Harvey Elliott, Ben Doak, all still at the club. And they've added Thuram as well, just to make it a little bit stronger in midfield. So this is not going to be easy. Bit annoyed to see Sturgeon still on the transfer list. I wonder if when Rolands goes, the director of football will come in for him, because I'd certainly take him back. But we're not going to worry about that for now. We're going to see if he faces us in the Community Shield, because it's Bournemouth versus Liverpool. And for a club of the size of Bournemouth, the FA Cup win was a gargantuan effort. 57,000 at Wembley seems very off. Really does seem a little bit wrong, that. I don't know what it is with attendances in this year's FM. Hopefully the extra season ticket sales will help us financially. But we are going to Wembley. We're going to try and win it. And it is a chance for us to get another trophy on the board, which should not be sniffed at. I know it's a little one. I know it's not considered important in England, but it does still count. So let's go and see what 11 the assistants picked. We're going to adjust it a little bit ourselves, but pretty much everyone's fit. It's probably been one of my best pre-seasons ever in terms of just building people up to gradual fitness. After a World Cup as well, there's a few we've had to look after, but generally we're in pretty good shape now. So let me go and adjust this 11 to suit me, because you can see the assistant has gone for a few youngsters. I might chuck in a debutant or two myself. We'll be back in a minute to run through the 11. Well, here we go then, and my plan is pretty simple in truth. I'm going to start with as close to my first 11 as I can, and then we're going to make subs to bring on debutants, to bring on younger players later in the game. So Lopez, Van der Lack, Barreto all on the bench. Ollie Byrne, the youngster, is there as well. And unfortunately, the likes of Solanke not fit. Rolands is about to leave, we think, and Siganov is really struggling with match load. He's been playing catch-up after an early pre-season injury. So this is the 11 we've gone for in full. Couple of big decisions made for this season. We've got Mepham back in for Casale, because even though he's 32 now, he's holding his physicality really well, whereas Casale, not quite the same, unfortunately, starting to decline quite quickly. Mendes comes in the middle of the 3. That, of course, because Sturgew's now left the club and he's a lot quicker with some of the aging legs around him. And young Schmidt will become first choice this year too. Karnazeki keeps his place in goal. Mepham, Mendes and Schmidt are that back 3. Aarons and Doy continue at wing back because we didn't get that new right wing back in. Tyler Adams has yet to be replaced, so he's in alongside Alex Scott. Ferret Aslan has probably been the biggest improver of the summer. He has come into 3.5-star ability now, and he's starting to look like a real threat out wide. So with his aggression, with his flair and with his pace, he might be a bit of a superstar. Should be in the Turkey squad soon as well. Then Facundo Fernandez is out on the left. He's still a wonder kid. He signed another new deal. Slightly bigger release clause, but keeps him here for now. And hopefully, after only scoring against Wolves in the league last year, he'll deliver with a few more this time around. Leonardo is up front. For how long, we don't know. But Lopez might get a go instead. And if he does well, you never know. He might overtake him. Let's go and get into the curtain raiser. Bournemouth v Liverpool. Apparently a 2/3 full Wembley. We're going to see if the Bournemouth end is full. We're going to see if Bournemouth can cause a shock, because the Premier League champions will be expecting another trophy. Well, into the game we go today, and it looks like Liverpool have gone back closer to full strength ready for this one. The likes of Nunes, Thuram, Konate, the new goalkeeper and Ben Doak all in from their last friendly. But that bench isn't bad at all, is it? And Sturgeon, he is one of them on there for Didier Deschamps' side. So let's go and say these fans have been brilliant. Can you get them a trophy? They seem a little happier, or at least Max Aarons does. So let's see what we can do. That end of Wembley looks fairly full, although there are some empty seats at the top. Are they suggesting that Bournemouth can't fill their half? Because that really does seem weird. The Liverpool end looks absolutely jam-packed. So they're suggesting we haven't got a fan base. It always does seem a little under-egged here in FM, doesn't it? The attendance is a bit all over the shop. But let's get into the first half regardless and see how we get on against Liverpool. Well, 15 minutes in, it's not been an exciting game. There have been no highlights and thus far, no shots at all. The first thing we see, though, is a corner kick, which is narrowly headed over by Liverpool. Big concern that it was a free one there. Alex Scott has got pulled wrist ligaments. You're fine, it's your arm. You play football with your legs. He'll be fine till half-time. Then we will take him off anyway. As Scott plays a 1-2, deflects into Leonardo. Back to Facundo Fernandes. Thought he was going to start with a bit more of a goal threat. Well, hang on a minute. The referee has made the TV signal. And he's coming over to have a look because he's thinking this might be a penalty. I mean, if he doesn't give it, I'll be asking some serious questions because we had the ball 25 yards out unopposed. So really, he should have been waiting till the ball went out of play as they would in real life. He's taken a while over there. Not as long as real life again, but what's he given? No penalty. That's a joke. We had the ball with a chance to shoot 25 yards out. Why are you stopping it in the middle of play when we've still got an opportunity to attack? Wait till the ball's out, man. That's scandalous. We've lost out on an attack there. And with 5 minutes to half time, it's been a terrible game of football, which most of these curtain raisers are. But we have got a free kick in stoppage time with Ferret Aslan into Mendes, who heads just over. Our back three, bar Mepham, is not the tallest and not the best in the air. But they're doing okay at the minute, and at half time, it is 0-0. Let's go and get Liverpool revenge, shall we? We are going to go Alex Scott off, or is he all right? He looks fine now, to be fair. I mean, what's the worst with his wrist? He can play with a protective cast or sling or whatever on Carney. Sling would probably be pushing it, as Darwin Núñez breaks away early in the second half. They're trying to play around in defence, Liverpool, a bit more possession-based than we've seen in previous years. They come out of it with Thuram. Jesus Christ. I think that might be the closest I've come to swearing on the channel. What are you doing? In a glorified friendly. Maybe Mike Phelan signed Lopez for a reason. Maybe he was trying to tell me something. What on earth do we do now? I think we probably have to go 4-4-1, don't we? And just sit behind the ball. We're going to go back to what the other shape was. We're going to put the holding midfielder up front, essentially. We're going to go 4-4 there. I don't remember what the other one was. Oh, that'll do. So we'll go Mendes off. Or should we go Mepham off? We'll put Mendes at the back alongside Schmidt. We'll take Mepham off for... this is quite tricky. I might even put one of them out to right back, to be fair. And then keep the extra option. Go Mendes right back. Aarons is on a yellow. We'll keep Mepham and Schmidt at the back. Then we'll bring on Lopez for a debut to be very isolated up front. But as a target forward, he can actually do that job of holding the ball up. We'll keep the other roles the same. We've got to do what we can here. We're going to slow the tempo a bit. We're going to time waste because penalties would be a good outcome. The wing-backs are certainly not going to overlap too much. And in fact, we can now put them back, I think, can't we? Certainly in the case of Mendes, to a fullback on support. This is a very frustrating situation because I thought we had a real opportunity. But now, we're going to have to hold on for dear life. And Leonardo, I don't know where that's come from. He's never done that since we've been at the club. What's his aggression? 12. I mean, it's not like he's someone who's known for it, is it? And it was in the middle of nowhere. They were just keeping possession in their own half. We were in a good shape. We're a side that normally plays that way. Oh, he's given a penalty. He's given a penalty. He's going over to this screen as well. I mean, I know people make the jokes about Liverpool, but this is happening now, isn't it? We don't get a penalty, despite the fact the ref stopped the game when we were about to shoot 20 yards out. Oh, he's given that one. We don't even get to see it. How convenient. Szoboszlai steps up with a knock. Karnazeki in goal, can't save it. This is turning into a horror show. I mean, thank God this didn't happen in the FA Cup final, but Liverpool getting all the favours from the referee and from Marcos Leonardo. When we get to the hour mark, I think we'll admit defeat now and just start thinking about next week. So Alex Scott had a knock, didn't he? He'll come off for Fernandes. We're going to bring on Van der Lack for Fernandes on the left wing. Not very good on this left-hand side in a more defensive role. But I feel like I've got no choice but to bring him on there. Or do I just chuck him up and see if he can do it? Go for a proper winger. Might as well have him on attack so he can just run at people and petrify them. Or do I want him to just get early crosses in? It's probably the better idea. We're also going to bring on Ollie Byrne, I think, for Mendes or Mepham. We'll go Mepham. And then Mendes can go back in as centre-half. And then we're also going to bring on Manuel Barreto. Karnazeki has played well, but it's a chance to give a debut now. We're not going to win the game. So let's give the new goalkeeper a run out. But Szoboszlai has got a free kick into the back post for Konate. Off the bar and Adams clears away. But the danger's not gone. Nunes plays a 1-2 with Szoboszlai. And it's over the bar. I'm going to encourage the lads because they're doing okay in the shape, given the circumstance. I think we got one sub remaining, haven't we? So we'll look at that in about 5 minutes' time. Szoboszlai has gone off injured. McAllister has got a corner kick. It's half away to Van der Lack, but we're basically just playing to contain now. And at 1-0 down, that is not ideal. We get to 5 to go. I might just throw all caution to the wind and see what happens, but not the start we were hoping for here. Luengo gets it into Grigio. Over the top to Nunes, who skinned Ollie Byrne. Good ball across. McAllister scores. And we no longer have to worry about that. We've got 4 players left on the bench. We're going to take Adams off for Damsgaard, save him for next week. I think that's it in terms of substitutions, isn't it? Just double check. Yes, it is. So Damsgaard will come on and go in. I mean, what duty? Does it even make a difference at this point? He can be a advanced playmaker on support. And we'll just see if we can get someone in attack. But it's not looking good at the moment. And Marcos Leonardo has turned a boring poor game into a one-sided one with the most ridiculous red card. The referee's done his bit with the penalty decisions as Fernandes goes back to Doig. And overall, after an exciting summer, I'm very upset already as Lopez plays up to Adams. We're going to learn nothing about Lopez today as well because he's basically chasing shadows up there. And it's not an ideal situation because these young boys that are coming in and the new signings, we're not getting to see the best of. We've got 8 minutes added on. Where that's come from, I don't know. But it's 2-0 Liverpool. It's going to be a comfortable win for the Premier League champions. Apparently, we've only managed to get 12,000 fans to Wembley. And Liverpool will lift the Community Shield. I'm not sure we want to be watching that. Let's go and get Leonardo a fine because he has been pathetic. And he's probably going to miss the first 3 league games now as a result of that. So Lopez is really going to get a chance to shine. And thank God Solanke is just about back fit. Liverpool lift the Community Shield. Is he banned? Did he not get suspended for that? So it was just a moment of pure stupidity for no reason whatsoever. What an idiot. We've got 3 debutants on there which will help us in the longer term. But after a frustrating start in the Community Shield, let's have a look at the schedule and when we're going to be back. Because being a director of Football Save, I've got to show you deadline day. We've got Crystal Palace in the Premier League just prior to that. So we'll come back for Palace and deadline day. Just out of curiosity, actually. It says away attendance for Liverpool was 34,000 at Wembley. So they didn't sell out their end either. I think that is slightly off to say the least. But for now, we will be back for the start of September, hopefully after a positive start in the league, because there are 3 fixtures on paper that are winnable and are very important for us, given the fact we're going to have a lot of congestion later in the season. So hopefully we can get off to a flying start. We can keep people fit enough for now. Maybe, who knows, Mike Phelan can add a little bit more because he's still got 15 million to play with, albeit the wage budget is pretty much maxed out. And maybe that's why he's loaning people out like Roland's. But if Antwerp want to come in for Leonardo now, I'm more than happy for it to be considered. And I'm sure Mike Phelan will as well. For now though, let me know what you thought of that one. A very strange performance, but an interesting summer in the window. Couple of very good young players coming in. I'm intrigued what you think of the 29-year-old Argentinian striker. I'm intrigued what you think of what players might leave before the end of the month. We'll find out all the answers in a couple of days' time. But if you enjoyed it, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe and turn that notification bell on to stay up to date with everything. We'll be back tomorrow with more action from Southend United. It's been a very big week in that one there. And we'll also have something special on Sunday, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you very much for watching as always though. You can find all the other playlists, the guides, the experiments and other stuff up in the eye above. We've also got links to the football podcast and the Twitch channel for regular content too. But thank you for joining me for another new season in charge of AFC Bournemouth. It's not started in the way we would have liked, so let's hope it improves when we return next time.